Boomer Sooner baby. The Oklahoma Sooners are still working in the transfer portal. And if you were paying attention to what was going on in the weekend, by no surprise, did a 5-star offensive tackle in the 2023 class visit Oklahoma from LSU. Additionally, you got a guard from Alabama on campus. And now all of a sudden, a defensive lineman is at the transfer portal that a lot of Oklahoma fans are looking at and saying, what's the deal with that guy? Oklahoma also got a commitment from the tight end, Jake Roberts. We got to talk about it. We got to dive into it, give the thoughts here. But before we do that, guys, make sure you do one thing. Hit that like, hit the subscribe button. Remember, we're on the goal to try to get to 10,000 subscribers. Need you guys to be a part of it. A lot of you guys watch my videos but are not subscribed. So make sure you hit that little subscribe button because a lot of you guys are continuing to come back even after you've watched one time. Also, need you guys to do something. Join the discussion. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. I want to know who you guys think Oklahoma needs to go out there and land in the transfer portal. Now, I want to start by saying this. I think Oklahoma's probably only going to take 2 to 3 more guys in the transfer portal this cycle. I think the rest of them are probably going to come in the spring when a lot of guys have kind of filled out where they're going to fit on the depth chart. And maybe they realize, this might not be as good of a fit as I thought it was going to be. And so that's something interesting to note, something interesting you guys need to keep your eye on. Pay attention to the spring cycle. Now, we got to talk about Lance Hurd because that's what everybody is kind of focused on right now. Lance Hurd was the dynamic 2023 5-star offensive tackle that went to LSU. Now, everybody's kind of assuming Lance Hurd is chasing a bag here. And I don't want to discredit. Yes, NIL is 100% a part of this recruitment. However, what I think a lot of people are missing is Lance Hurd was going to get lost on the depth chart at LSU behind some good offensive linemen. And I don't know if the development was necessarily there for him to say, yeah, it's okay for me to sit another year, for me not to see the field. And then he sees places like Tennessee, Oklahoma that really need his services. And where, yeah, let's say he had to sit for half a season or a whole season. He sees that I can get developed at those two places, and I can get developed at a really high level. And then you look at the production that Lance Hurd had in the transfer portal. And he was one of the higher graded offensive linemen last season. Now, he'd only played in I want to say it was 139 snaps or 169 snaps or something. So it's not like he played in a ton of games. Not like he was a starter. But Lance Hurd coming to Oklahoma, we know that he could fill the need at the other tackle position on the opposite side of Jacob Sexton. And so you looked at what he did in high school, transferred from the defensive side of the ball, right? But he's got a lot of raw talent there. And we know what Bill Bedenbaugh can do with raw talent. So as of right now, it seems like Oklahoma is pretty much in the driver's seat to be able to go out here and land Lance Hurd. It seems like it's their recruitment to lose. He cut his Tennessee visit short so that he could come to Oklahoma. And just from talking to a couple people and everything, and it sounds like Lance Hurd had a fun time on his visit. I would say I favor Oklahoma. I think Lance Hurd is going to be an Oklahoma Sooner. And I think that is significant because you're getting a guy out of the transfer portal that not only has 2 years of eligibility, but has 3 years of eligibility left. So although you're not replacing Caden Green in terms of a production and experience standpoint, you're getting a replacement for Caden Green in terms of how many years that player is going to have left. And I think that's a big deal. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing here. Now, looking at the other offensive lineman that was on campus this weekend, Terrence Ferguson. Terrence Ferguson played at Alabama. And again, similar situation to Lance Hurd. I think a very good offensive lineman. But again, got lost in an Alabama depth chart that is just filled with talent in 5 stars. Had an offensive grade this season of 61.9, had a pass block grade of 80.3, so very good pass blocker. But his run block grade was only 57.7. So a little bit of work and improvement needed there. But he had a total of 116 snaps. But again, I look at Terrence Ferguson as a talent he could probably come on campus and he could probably be a force for you. And so I look at the offensive line and what that could potentially look like going into next season. You're looking at Spencer Brown. You're looking at Fabechi Wewu, Jacob Sexton. If you get Lance Hurd, it's him. Troy Everett or Joshua Bates. I think a lot of OU fans are kind of going back and forth on who's going to be where. And then if you land Terrence Ferguson. So Jacob Sexton at left guard, Jacob Sexton at left tackle, Terrence Ferguson at left guard, Troy Everett or Joshua Bates at center, Fabechi Wewu at right guard, and then you have Landon Hurd at right tackle. Now, your swing guard would be Jake Taylor. However, Jake Taylor would probably go into the left guard position if Terrence Ferguson doesn't end up on campus. And then Spencer Brown would probably play that right tackle position if Hurd does not end up in Norman. So that's kind of what your offensive line will look like. And then obviously Michael Tarquin would just be probably a backup for one of the guard positions, I think. I think he's going to end up playing guard. Not sure exactly where he's going to end up playing because he was playing, I think, tackle at USC. So, I have seen the rumors and the rumblings of Tarquin, and not to discount what other people are getting. I have been told that Tarquin is committed to Oklahoma. He's training at Oklahoma, so there's nothing to fear there. Just like Spencer Brown when all that thing happened, right? Nothing to fear. Spencer Brown is committed to Oklahoma, and until we see that he's not on campus, there's no reason to be concerned. Now, there was a defensive lineman that hit the portal last night that I think a lot of Oklahoma fans looked at and said, is this a potential take for Oklahoma? And his name is Devin Baldwin from Jacksonville State. Now, interesting thing here enough, as we're recording this, we still do not have an announcement that Zach Alley is going to be the defensive coordinator at Oklahoma. But there are a lot of speculations and a lot of reports that Zach Alley will be the new DC here at OU. And Devin Baldwin was one of his players. Now, talking to Jay over at Unfair Sports, and I kind of agree with Jay, that Devin Baldwin is likely, if he comes to Oklahoma, it's going to be in a PWO role. He is not a scholarship player for Oklahoma. Now, I don't know what the staff's take is on that, because when you look at Devin Baldwin as an interior defensive lineman at 270, he probably needs to tack on another 20 or 30 pounds to really be effective. You would like to see another 30 in the SEC. So he need to be at 300, and right now he's at 270. But 6'4", could be a take. Again, probably more so if you want him as a PWO. Last season, he had 13 total tackles, 8 solos, but he did not have a sack or a fumble. But in 2021, he had 15 total tackles for 5 solos and then 1 forced fumble. So interesting thing there to watch. And I'm going to say if, because it hasn't been announced yet. If Zach Alley becomes the defensive coordinator, it would be interesting to see if Devin Baldwin would end up be interested to come to Oklahoma under a PWO. But guys, I want to hear from y'all. I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are, because I think Oklahoma lands Lance Hurd. The jury's still out on Ferguson. I'm going to say no for now, but you're hearing a lot of good things out there. I'm just going to say no for now. And then when it comes to Devin Baldwin, I say yes in a PWO manner. I want to hear what y'all's takes are. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like and you hit that subscribe button.